Hello there. In this video, I'm just going to look at the best way to use the D and B modes and the regen in the Q4 E-Tron to maximize efficiency. Now, this is my opinion. This is probably not scientific fact. I'm just going with my experience, having covered just about 18,000 miles in the Q4. And a quick disclaimer, a lot of this was filmed by one of my kids from the passenger seat. So some of the camera work's not great, but it's the best I could do. I'm going to start with B mode, which you select by putting it into D, and then, really tricky, click it again to get into B mode. And I don't have any pedals on my car, so B mode just gives you the full regen. It'll slow you right down to a crawl. It won't bring you to a complete stop though. So this is me braking, using regen only, from 60 miles an hour, and it'll bring me right down, but it won't quite stop me. I would have to use my foot on the brake pedal to stop that last little bit. We're clicking it back into D mode and doing exactly the same stretch road again from 60 miles an hour. As soon as I back off, which is now, it just lets me coast. Doesn't do any regen, don't need any power. This is the point roughly where I stopped before, and I'm still doing 58 miles an hour. What it will do though is, when it detects a speed limit change coming up, it will start to slow me down for that. So it's recognised there's a speed limit change coming up, and it's regenerating me down towards the speed limit. On this section here, we're going downhill, you'll see we'll actually gain speed because it'll let me coast down the hill. Because I'm in D mode, it won't regen or anything for the corner, so I will have to press the brake when I get up to this corner. However, it is a blended braking system, so when I press the brake pedal, it does use regen. Unless I press the pedal hard, it'll use regen initially to slow me down. As you can see again, I'm just going to let it coast here for a bit. If you look at the kind of power gauge, you'll see I'm just letting this run. It'll let me coast a bit. If I go downhill, it'll let the speed pick up without me putting my foot on the accelerator. Because I've got the predictive one on, as I approach the roundabout, it will put automatic regen on for me, even in D mode. Here I'm on a dual carriageway, and it's slowing down because I'm within 2 seconds of the car in front, and it uses regen to help match the speed of the car in front. And as we're approaching our junction as well, we're roundabout, it'll slow me down using the regen automatically for that, even though I am in D mode. So that regen comes and goes. Interestingly, if you have it in D mode and you have it in dynamic on the drive select, it does automatically regen every single time you back off. It doesn't do full regen like B mode would do, but it gives you a little bit. Here again, it's just slowing me down for the speed limit change. And you'll see the different kind of signs that come up. There's speed limit ones, there's gradient ones, there's corner ones, and it'll automatic regen in D mode for those, if I have that switched on. And one last thing for here, emergency stop from 60 miles an hour. And there we go, brake on a damp road, performs pretty well. So which mode do I use for my day-to-day driving? Well, I'll preface this by saying my only other EV experience has been with our i3, which does full one pedal driving and doesn't have the ability to coast. And what I find once I've been in the Audi and I go back in the i3, I find it quite hard to maintain a constant speed without using the cruise control. Because every time I take my foot off the accelerator a little bit, it backs off and wants to regen, then I end up putting my foot down a little bit. I find it far easier to drive the Q4 smoother on country roads, where I normally leave it in D mode. Because every time you back off, it just coasts for a little bit. You're not losing anything in terms of efficiency, because if you do have to brake, as long as you're braking gently, it uses the same regen that you would have had anyway to do that braking. So you still put energy back in the system. So for country roads, A roads, motorways, I would stick to D mode when I'm driving. Different story if I'm on a twisty road where I'd normally put in dynamic on the drive select, and D mode would give me some regen braking anyway. Or if I'm in town, where I'll normally stick it in B mode, so that's giving me regen all the time. In town, I'm not going to be driving at constant speed for any length of time. It's quite a lot of stop-start. So every time you lift off the accelerator, then the regen's useful. And you're not having to press the brake so often. You still do have to use the brake pedal occasionally, because it will not bring you to a complete stop. So as I said earlier, that's not particularly scientific. There's probably people with big brains out there who can explain that a lot better, but that's just my experience and my preference. Anyway, that's all I've got for you in this video. Remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.